The ride home was the scariest, hellish experience of my life, because I can't even put it really into words what I was feeling inside. I mean, I was hallucinating. I didn't believe my mom was my mom. I mean, I was really out of my mind. It wasn't like I was sitting there thinking, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't believe I did this. I was grasping the windows, trying to jump out of the car. I was out of my mind, crazy. And my mom is holding me down in the seat and, you know, praying and saying, I love you, you're gonna be okay. And I really didn't even know what was going on. I was that far out of reality. So it wasn't like I was sitting there contemplating all these things. At that point, I thought I was dead already, and I thought I was living in this like hellish limbo nightmare, which I was. And it wasn't until I was put into a hospital and then had actually a few days of sleep where, I mean, they had to knock me out because I was just going and going and going. And when I woke up in that hospital in a, you know, confined room thinking, oh, wait, is this my life? Like really just having a taste of reality again after having slept for a few days, that, oh, it's not a nightmare. I'm not dead. What have I done to myself? Like, how did I get to this point? How did this happen? How Lynn Marie Smith, the homecoming queen of our class and the girl who was gonna go and dance on top of the taxi cabs like the kids in Fame, how did I get to this point? So for me, it was waking up in a psychiatric ward, you know, realizing, oh, wow, I've really made some poor decisions and poor choices. And I had no idea how I was even going to get out of where I was. I just knew that I didn't want to be in it anymore. I didn't want to be crazy. I didn't want to be locked in a jail or an institution. I didn't want to be dead. I wanted to be alive, which is much easier said than done when you're going through something like that. I mean, I knew that that was the truth, but it was a long, arduous, hard journey to, I thought I was going to go to the hospital, and it was just, oh, okay, I'm done with drugs and everything's great. But my problem really wasn't with drugs. My problem was with such a lack of self-worth, so much insecurity. I grew up in an alcoholic home, so I think from an early age I learned that what was most important was what was on the outside, the way you looked, the way people thought of you, that's where fulfillment and peace and happiness came from. As long as everything looked good, it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter what's going on internally, but if on the outside it's okay, you're good. And so I since have learned over these years that it is more important of what's going on in the inside. And that's where life really is. What's going on in your thoughts, in your mind, in your heart? What are your true feelings? What's your authentic being and self longing for or crying for, or whatever it is? And so when I started to pay attention to that voice inside me and started to listen to that more rather than the outside, whether it came from people who labeled me schizophrenic or manic depressive or you're this, you're damaged, I just didn't buy into any of those labels. I didn't buy into what the outside was telling me about myself or whatever it was. I just focused on me and really going within and facing myself, facing the demons, facing my fears. And it's still a daily process. It's not something that, you know, goes away completely. I still have to face fears. I think we all do, but it's having that courage to face them. And so really that's the biggest part, is what I've learned is the most important thing is your internal life and what that's about, because that in turn creates a beautiful external life. So it's not the opposite of like, well, if I have the house and if I have the money and if I have all of these things, then I'll be happy. I truly believe it's about feeling rich within you and feeling fulfilled with who you are and accepting who you are. And then the other stuff is icing, and it's amazing and it's magical. But it's a process, and it's work, and it's a choice, and it's a choice every day to live like that. And there are days where I don't live like that, and there are days I'm like, oh, this sucks, you know, because you're human. But there are more days now where I'm like, this is my life, and what am I gonna do with it today? How am I gonna choose to use the life that I've been given? Because it really is, I think, a privilege that we've been given these lives to use them, whatever way that is. Whatever your passion is, whether it's being a mailman, a producer, a writer, a doctor, whatever that is, to focus on that and put your energy into what brings you bliss and joy, because that really feeds your life, and it feeds other people around you. It inspires them to feel like they can do it too.